stretch by Downing. Swinging.
It's getting serious on this track,
That
fam.
ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
3-2 Atlanta, 2 men out in the sixth. High and deep to right field. This could be number 300, and it is for Dale Murphy. The 0-2. Left side, Swanson to first.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 3 of the Chop Shop Podcast. As always, it's your boy TK, joined by my boy Mr. JP Jermaine Powell, bro.
Yes, sir.
So how you been, man? Been a long week, bro.
Man, long week. I almost was right on my prediction, man, but it was reversed the other way. But we'll get into that. So
Yeah, no doubt. So before we get into the road trip and before we get into your prediction, let me start off by saying congratulations and shout out to Austin Riley. He's out on paternity leave because his wife, him and his wife are expecting their first child. So, congratulations to them.
Yep.
And, many blessings to them and prayers for a safe, healthy delivery. Now, let's talk about a couple moves real quick.
Okay.
The biggest one, the one that everybody's talking about, is Ronald Acuna Jr. He's out to torn ACL. Well, he's been on assignment in Gwinnett.
Mm-hmm.
He's scheduled for a comeback first week of May. And basically he down there, man. This is his spring training, man.
Oh yeah.
And what we've seen and heard so far, what's your take on what he's doing right now?
I think he's ready to go. The fans are, they're excited for a reason. Being at Gwinnett, that's the last step. That's AAA. So once you get there, it's not going to be long before you come. But like you said, it's actually a ramp up section. What they're doing with Acuna, it's kind of like his spring training he didn't have, because if it was left up to him, he already would have been back. But sometimes you have to protect the player from themselves. But I think he's ready to go, and I think he's really going to help this lineup, because it's actually gotten a little better, but the lineup is still struggling. I can't wait to see him back in.
Man, everybody's struggling except for the top of the lineup is all right.
Oh yeah.
Like, and when we talked about it, first episode,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about how we had hitters from top to bottom,
Right.
especially with the DH. And right now, man, it looks like a very top heavy lineup that's not producing.
No.
And honestly, man, I know it's again still early,
Yeah.
14 games in, but it's a little disappointing for me.
Oh yeah, very. Because at the beginning of the year, you looked at the Braves lineup as we predicted with the Dodgers, agreeing they had the best lineup in baseball, at least on paper. And now the Braves, it's the point could be made they could have the third or fourth best lineup on, on paper. But yeah, it's like once you get past four hitters, it's they're struggling really bad right now. I mean, the home run leader for the Braves is Albies, and he has 5 home runs, but he's only batting .218. So
yeah.
So pretty much all he's done was hit those 5 home runs.
Right. So you look at Albies, he's feast or famine.
Mm-hmm.
Riley is doing his thing.
Yeah.
Matt Olson is doing his thing. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Ozuna doing his thing. But once you get past those names, the decline is very steep and very, very eye-opening, man.
Yeah.
Like, let me ask you, like, what do you think the problem is?
Man, I know we keep saying about spring training. I hate to keep going back to that because everybody had the same amount, time of spring training. So
Right.
I don't know if it's kind of like a, a World Series hangover, but some of the ones that we're gonna get into a little bit later, they always notoriously start slow. Like Dansby Swanson, he's always a kind of a slow starter. He picks it up because you remember when he first came here, it was talks of really benching him or trading him because he wasn't what was advertised when we got him in that trade from the Diamondbacks, but
Right.
he actually came on. He had a great season last year, uh, but he normally starts for low. I'm not that worried about him, but some of the others ones like Rosario we're gonna get into, and yeah, once you get past five, it's that's it.
Yeah. So we talked about everything, enough.
Hmm.
Now last week, I gotta start with you. Last week, you made a prediction that the Braves would come off this road trip with a 5-2 record,
Yeah,
and they ended up at 3-4. Now, looking back at the series against the Padres and of course the Dodgers,
right.
what was the most surprising to you about what we saw?
Man, starting with the Padres series, they got off to a bad start that first game. That was turned on TV. It was like a football score almost. But I think the pitching was up and down. We probably gonna get into that a little bit too. But the pitching actually was better in some aspects. But then you still got Anderson struggling and the bats not coming to life. But they got out of San Diego with a 2-2 split. So then going on to the Dodgers, I'm thinking it would be lovely to get 2-1, but with the reunion with Freddie, Freddie and all, I didn't expect it to be that 1-2. That's what I was actually counting, but I thought that they at least get 3 out of 4 from the Padres. But yeah, it was a hot and cold trip.
Yeah, to me it was more cold than hot, man.
Yeah,
Especially offensively. But I was surprised at how bad the pitching was when it was bad. Um, we saw Freed bomb, we saw Morton bomb. Ian Anderson, he actually looked pretty good. Um, I was disappointed in. I guess I wouldn't say disappointed, but we had the rookie who had his big game, the first
right.
game, and he wasn't bad on his loss.
No, he wasn't.
You know, he gave up those 2 runs,
Hmm.
early, but he struggled finding his placement. Like
Yeah.
he had, I want to say 50 pitches in the
Hmm.
first 4 innings, I believe it was.
Yeah.
In contrast, Darvish, he was mowing them down. Like I think he only threw maybe 20 pitches
Yeah.
early in the contest. So, that discrepancy was huge, man. But again, even if your pitcher gives up 2 early runs, you still expect your bats to do something. And
Yeah.
they didn't come through, man. They lost 2-1.
Yeah.
Didn't come through.
Yeah, so like you said, he gave up the 2 runs, but it really wasn't a bad outing, for the rook. Yeah, and you can expect that because his first, game blew everybody away. But you know that he was, kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But like you said, it wasn't a bad performance. He had no run support whatsoever. I mean, you lose the game 2-1. I think the pitcher pretty, he pitched pretty dang good.
Right, right. So speaking of pitching, and I don't know how this slipped my mind, but the Braves made a move pitching wise,
Hmm.
bringing in some help, man. Uh, they brought Chavez back
Right.
and sent Newcomb on assignment. Now, I like the move. Last year, Chavez was pretty solid for us. Pitched 33 innings, 2.14 ERA. Went 3-2. But what I liked about it most was he had a nice strikeout to walk ratio.
Yeah.
36 Ks, only 11 base and balls. So
Right.
he was highly effective last year, man, as that inning eater,
Yep.
you know. And I'm hoping that he can be that again this year because we ain't making it out the fifth inning, much with our starters, man. So we gonna need that solid mid relief to get us to Jensen, to get us, to
Hmm.
Will Smith or whomever at the end. So I'm glad they brought him back, man, and it's showing they being proactive rather than reactive early in the season. So
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, you
shout out
hit
to
the
them on
nail.
that.
You hit the nail right on the head with what you said. Because what the Braves did, they looked around, like you said. We have starters that's struggling. We got a pretty nice bullpen once you get to it. But like you said, we had if a starter struggling in the third, we had nobody we can really put in there. They was using Newcomb in that, so I was actually kind of surprised that they traded Newcomb because he was the big lefty southpaw coming out. And he was actually a starter with the Braves a couple years ago. So you was thinking, okay, they would keep him around because he can be a starter, setup guy, or whatever. So, and he's a lefty. So I was kind of thinking that they would keep him. But what the Braves were thinking, they brought in Chavez because all of us that followed that World Series run last year, he was a calming force that came into the game. You didn't really worry when he got out there. Of course, he, maybe come in, close out the fifth, the sixth, or whatever. But he was actually really good during those times, and he's a battle tested veteran. So I'm glad with the move, but I'm just surprised that they gave Newcomb away, considering he's that kind of tweener between a starter and a reliever.
Yeah, I don't think it, and I wonder why, and I'm pretty sure we'll find out sooner rather than later, man. It didn't, seem like it was a desperate move as far as who they got rid of.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's a little surprising, but if they feel that Chavez will be, better, then you just got to roll with that, man.
yeah,
You know, um, but yeah, man. So right now we sitting at 6-8. Um, and honestly, I'm surprised we got 6 wins considering how bad
yeah,
the pitching has been at times, how bad the hitting has been at times.
right.
Um, but this season has so many parallels, man,
Hmm.
with other seasons, right? So you look at again 6-8.
Right.
Last year we started 6-8, um, and you saw what happened.
Yeah.
I believe it was I want to say 12 and 13. We started 6-8, and both of those ended up being 100-win seasons.
Hmm.
So it's it's not time to panic, folks.
No.
Like we've been here before, so you know we know what can be done. But
Right.
I still expected a lot better than what we've seen. You
Well,
know,
and the Braves should really be fortunate, TK, because if you think about it, they're in second place right now with a 6-8 record. Everybody else behind them is is actually doing worse than we are, and we have one of the dead last team actually that's coming up, the Miami Marlins. So that's going to help. We need to go in that series either sweeping it or definitely
it's
getting
got to
two
be
out
a
of
sweep.
three. It's got to
It's
be,
got to
yeah.
be a sweep.
And the surprising Mets in first place at 10-4. I mean,
Yeah,
who saw that coming? But we still okay. We're in second place, like you say. It's not time to hit the panic button. And one thing
no,
about this GM that I love, man, he is going to. He's gonna
right,
make a move if he sees, he's not gonna rush it or whatever. If he thinks he needs to make a move, he's gonna do it. So
yeah.
I
So
think we'll
let
be
me
all
let me
right.
go back and correct myself. I said uh 12 and 13. It was 2002 and 3
Okay.
with So I don't really want to talk about the Padres because so all the talk, like we said, would be on the Dodger series and how Freeman would play against the Braves,
Right.
how Olsen would play with the spotlight on him.
Right.
Um, when we saw what happened, the coolest thing about that series though was seeing Freddie Freeman's little boy,
Yeah.
run into
Hmm.
the arms of Eddie,
Yeah.
and that was a big hit for the fans. That's about the only hit Eddie's had, uh, this year. But that was cool to see, man.
Oh yeah,
That was one of those moments that make you appreciate baseball and love baseball, despite everything people talked about. That love
yeah.
is still there. So that was great to see, man. But other than that, I,
Mm.
I was real disappointed in that Dodgers series, man.
Yeah, I
Seeing
mean, yeah,
Charlie Morton get smacked around. Freddie hit the bomb on him.
right.
Uh, they put him up 5-1, I think it was,
Hmm.
and man, it was just I expected that.
And let's be honest, man, that was a statement game for the Dodgers. We put them out this past year, went on to win the World Series, so that was a statement game for them. They hearing that we're just as good as them. We got their closer and all that kind of stuff. So Bryce got a target on their back. But yeah, I expected for us to come out and show a little championship medal, but we didn't. And Freddie, man, he's always going to be forever a Brave in my book. But it's just really hard to see him in that Dodger blue. It's like you want to hate him because he's with the Dodgers,
Right.
but it's Freddie. But man, yeah, he actually came out, and in that series, like you say, it was hardly any hits for us. But the lone bright spot, Matt Olson has been good as advertised, and people are getting ready to see that now because he's batting 400 on the year, got 20 hits, man, out of 40 plate appearances. So he's doing his thing. Well, 40 plus plate appearances, but
Yeah.
and most of the people didn't know. I know a lot of Braves fans that may not follow other teams or whatever. When they got Matt Olson in some of the groups, I mean, they was like, "Who the heck is that?" And I'm like, "He's legit."
Right. He definitely is legit. So yeah, you kind of touched on Matt Olson. I was definitely gonna get into that. But the another bright spot in that series was Max Fried.
Yep,
So he's an LA kid.
yep.
So he pitched in front of his hometown, in front of his people, and dog, he looked like the Cy Young candidate that we hoped
Oh
he
yeah,
would be.
yeah. I knew
Uh,
he would settle down and come back, man. He got that quiet kind of swag about him, and I knew that he would come back and do what he was supposed to do because the first item was definitely not him. But yeah, that was a bright spot on the day too with him. But those are the kind of series, man. If you're gonna try to defend this title and make a statement back to the playoff, that's the series you got to get. You got to get those, and then the ones
yeah,
like the Reds to open the season, that was disappointing. They're losing 2 out of 3 to them. But like you mentioned earlier, going down to Miami, you can't afford to get 1 out of 2
no,
or
no, no,
whatever
no,
from
no.
the Marlins. They're 4-7, and we'll see an old familiar face when we go there with Soler. So,
Right.
and he's off to a terrible start, but let's hopefully that it stays that way long until
I
we leave.
I still miss him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so we was talking about Max, man, and what we're seeing now, and
Hmm.
I talked about similarities. What we're seeing now with Max is what we saw last year. He started off slow last year,
He
and
did.
then he led the majors after the All Star break with a 1.74 ERA.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that history repeats itself all over again. We seeing all of these omens and similarities. I know Jock Peterson's not gonna walk through that door again, but we seeing these similarities, and I'm hoping that it does translate into a better ending than beginning.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
So since we brought up Max Fried and we brought up um Olsen, we might as well hop into a little bit of buy or sell.
Buy or sell.
I'm at 35 down 40, 40 now 5 at a down better down 45, 45 at a down better down 50. I'm at 45 at a down better down 50. Sold.
Favorite segment of the show.
So since we was talking about, oh no, not that. We're not gonna start with him. We was talking about Max Fried, so we'll continue with him.
Okay.
Now he started off 0-2. Look, horrible.
Yeah.
Then LA, big stage, big time team, big time lineup. He comes back with the 8Ks. You know, pitched the gym. Do you think Max Fried is back on track by ourselves?
TK, we buying this one, man. We buying it all day. And the reason why you alluded to it, like on the big stage, the Dodger game, he brought it. And if you think about last year, the series between the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Astros, if it was one person you knew was gonna go out on the mound, it was him. So I think he's back. He lives for the big moments. You know, he has that. He kind of had that Glavin S kind of feel to him. But yeah, I think he's back.
I'm gonna buy that too. I'm going to buy Max Fried being back for all the reasons that you just said,
Oh yeah, he's back.
and the fact that we need him to be back on track.
Yeah, you're right.
We need him to repeat that Dodger game over and over and over, and hopefully that rubs off on Charlie Morton and
Yeah.
Ian Anderson and Elder, all of them. So
Sometimes you just got to get that one, and you know it's easier from there.
yeah, yeah, I hated we got let down after that big win with that 5-1 loss. That was, you know,
Yeah,
horrible way to close. So we buying Max Fried is back on track.
buy it, buy it.
Another guy you brought up, Matt Olson,
Hmm.
buy or sell. Matt Olson is better than what was expected.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna buy it because I actually kind of expected him to be like this because you know people that play fantasy baseball or people that follow baseball in general, not just the Braves, you knew of Matt Olson. You've heard of him before, but by him playing with Oakland, a team that had their struggles over the past years, you didn't hear much about him. But I'm gonna buy it. He's where I thought he would be actually, because he's kind of like Freddie, actually a better defender in the field than Freddie. But yeah, I'm buying it.
So he showed his defense because he scooped up some horrible throws. Um, he's slow as Christmas though. I think
Yeah,
I can get him. I can get him in the 40 and the 100. But as far as him being better than expected, I'm buying it.
yeah.
I'm really buying it. And let me tell you why. Yes, you talked about what you just said. You look at his numbers. He's batting 400.
Hmm.
He's got the 2 home runs. Um, his own base percentage is good. He showed up, big in a few games. But the reason why I'm buying that he's better than expected is because I talked about it first episode, the pressure that he would be under
Oh yeah.
replacing Freddie Freeman. And like he started off hot and he hasn't slowed down.
No.
Now, of course, and we talked about ebbs and flows at the beginning
Hmm.
of the season, and I expect him to hit a rough spot. But as of right now,
Hmm.
Matt Olson is better than what I expected. So again, we both buy.
Oh yeah. Let me throw something else in on that real quick at you. Matt Olson. If you think about it, right now the way the lineup is struggling, we say we top heavy. He has no protection really. What about when Acuna comes back, and let's say Acuna returns to 75% of the form was before he left? Now you can't really pitch around Matt Olson now because now you're going to have Acuna back in his leadoff spot. You have
Right,
August probably after him. You have Olson. You got Austin Riley. Now that's a lineup right there. Then Osuna is probably hitting in the fifth spot.
right.
So yeah,
So
right
that with Acuna coming back, that top heaviness starts to slide down a
there
little
you go.
more. It
There you
goes
go.
from three top at the heavy at the first three to four to five to six, and hopefully it starts to pick up because you got Adam Duvall, he's struggling,
Yeah,
and we talked about Austin Albies. He got the 5 bombs, but he's batting 218. So if he can continue his power and get it up, 260, 270.
Yeah.
We cooking with gas with him. So hopefully, hopefully, it turns around. Now, let's talk about we talked about the good that we've seen with the buy and sell.
I knew that was coming.
Let's talk about the bad.
Okay.
Let's start
Uh,
with everybody's favorite Brave, Mr. Eddie Rosario.
look,
Buy
we
or sell? It's time to bench Eddie.
well before I give you my what I'm gonna do is buy a sell. I'm gonna tell you this, man. We should be applauding this guy because last time we recorded, he was .50 in the batting area, right? You
Yeah?
know what it is now?
Where you at now?
.81. He has
Okay.
3 hits on the year out of 37 plates appearance. So hey, he raised his average, 30 tenths of a point. So no, man, we sell it. I'm buying it, man. It's time to bench Eddie. I'm buying it. I mean, he was the world, not the World Series. Well, he was good in the World Series too, but he was the Dodgers, NL championship hero. But as you notice, his number of bats has gotten reduced. He's only got 37 now. Most of the starters have between 49 and 50. So
Right,
he's been out a few games, and they had spot people like Heredia that came in and hit a home run against the Dodgers, and
right,
it's probably yeah, I think it's time to bench him, and I know that they really don't want to because he was that prize free agent that we brought back. And most people preferred him over because you knew you was only going to bring one back. It was either Soler, Jock Peterson, or him. I
right.
was kind of in the Jock Peterson
Me too.
camp myself because Jock just had this attitude and he was crazy. I think he just fired up the team and they followed him. But Eddie probably was the safest pick the way that you looked at the way he played last year. He came from Minnesota after that injury in the trade and he was lights out. He
Right.
was a hitting machine. He displayed power. He was good in the field. Uh, Great leadoff hitter. But yeah, it's time. Yeah, I'm buying. It's time to bench him.
Yeah. Just let me say something about Jock real quick. Man, I watched the World Series, parade where they all got on stage. Jock Peterson gave the most classic speech ever.
He did.
Like dude, bruh, the swag and the attitude that he brought to this team, the chemistry that he brought to this
Mhm.
team, was crazy. And I think we're seeing the ramifications of not having
And he's doing
that
well in San
loose,
Francisco right now too.
yeah, that wild and loose guy, that glue who bring people together. And
Yeah.
I was reading a story about him getting on the wrong bus. He was with the pitchers, and
Yeah.
you know, and he told them like, y'all the motherfuckers who gonna win us the World Series, right? So man, we seeing that, but yeah, back to Eddie.
Oh boy.
I'm buying that he should be benched, and I think he should have been sold by now to anybody. So that's what I'm rocking with Eddie.
And
So
and I
we,
won't raise country to think that we're giving up on him too soon, but you're a major leaguer. The season you had 37 bats, 37 at bats is enough to be hitting at least 10 hits out of it, or 11 hits, or getting on
yeah,
base. You were the leadoff guy, and they had to bench you. And yeah, it's not a good look. And I know, like I said, I know why they want to keep him in the lineup, but yeah, it's time to bench him because when Acuna come back, you definitely can bench him then.
most definitely. Now, so who would you put out there right now? Because Alex Dickerson, he's struggling. We talked about you brought up Heredia.
I
I
actually like to
mean,
give some of those hits, some of those appearances to Heredia. Of course, you may be not having a full time starter, but I would give a lot of bats to him because if you notice, he got that kind of Jock Peterson kind of swag a little bit about
right?
himself. Uh, it was a lot of times if you watch during last season, he was in the dugout, not even playing, but he was always just riling guys up. He had the sword going, and the different things, and he produced in the Dodgers series. No, he's had limited at bat this year, but he got more hits than Rosario and Swanson combined. So
Yes, and it's funny that you should mention brother Dansby Swanson
Oh my
because
gosh.
buy or sell, it's time to bench Dansby.
You know, Dansby can be. He invited to the cookout. He got the invitation. You already know he ATL born and bred. He had the Outcast jersey on at the at the
Right?
parade. But Dansby, I'm gonna sell it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Dansby has always started slow, and we talked a little bit about about that early in the year when he came over from Arizona. Being he was the number one pick by Arizona, and
Right?
he come back home to Georgia where he's from, and it was a time where they was like, man, the Braves messed up with this guy. They was talking about bench. They did bench him a couple times his first season with us, but he started to pick it up. Last year he started a little slow. He picked it up, but I'm gonna sell it. It's not time yet. I know that sound.
Man, I'm on the fence. Like for one, I don't know who will we replace him with that'll do that much better. Um, I mean, what did he bet? 143 right now?
143, yeah, 7 for 49 actually.
Right. So, man, you know what? Golly.
Now Acadia has played good too in spot starts in the infield.
Yeah. So you know what? You're right. I'm buying it. Damn it, I'm buying it. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm buying it. He has struck out 22 times.
Oh my gosh.
I want to say it was. You know what? I don't want to lie. Give me. Yeah, I was right. So Dansby Swanson has struck out 22 times, which is bad, right?
Yeah.
And is also history making because he is the only, I repeat, JP,
Uh huh.
he is the only Braves in history to strike out 22 times in the first 14 games.
In history.
Yeah. Now,
Wow.
he broke the record that was set by Ronald Acuna back in 2020. But
Yeah.
well, he was a rookie then though.
Yeah, and he was
So
swinging at everything too.
yeah,
So
he was swinging at no discipline. He was swinging at everything. So I ain't really holding it against him, but like you said, this is the bread homebred. Like we expected better from him than what we seeing right now as
mhm.
well. So it's hard to sit here with two of your guys who gave you so much
Yeah,
last season to see them both struggling like this. And I know Brian Snicker got to be going crazy right now, thinking of what should I do? What do I need to do? Because you don't
yeah,
want to, bench your guy. They're your guys. You don't want to, bench them and create that rift, but at the same time, you don't, you can't be, 6 and 14.
yeah. And
You know,
last year, man, they boasted the infield since you brought them up. With Swanson and Albies and Riley, and now we got Olson. But all of them hit over 20 homers last year, and this year it was a lot of talk that that could be the first infield to be like over 30 home runs each, and it didn't really seem out of the realm, especially the way they played last year. But the way Dansby's looking, I mean, he I don't know when he gonna get one. And then
right?
you look at Albies, yeah, he got 5 leading the team, but that's all his hits pretty much.
Yeah, and we've seen guys struggle.
Yeah.
Like look at oh God, last year Austin Riley.
Hmm.
Now he had a breakout year.
He did.
We talked about he maybe, last episode he's by ourselves as
Yeah.
an MVP candidate because of the year he had. But think back, he started off super slow last year,
Ooh, yeah.
right? Uh, first 14 games he was hitting a buck 90, right?
Hmm.
He had what 0.467668 OPS,
Right.
and he ended up finishing the season batting over 300 with 33 home runs. So we see guys turning around, and I'm just hoping that Dansby can turn it around. But until he stops striking out, damn
God,
it, I'm back, and he got to sit out.
you about to make me change
At
my
least do the
prediction.
Marlins, or
Yeah,
maybe the Marlins might be, the series that he needs to play. Him, and Rosario. Put him up against a sorry team,
yeah,
and with man pitchers, and
yeah,
see what they do.
yeah. I let Eddie get some bats this game. Yeah, I would. I give him a couple stars, so one or two. Yeah, definitely.
So up next, the Braves off Thursday, which is today.
Yeah.
I'm tripping. Braves off today, and they kick off with the Marlins. And let me look. Let me see who we got up after that. It's I really got to keep this in front of me, man.
I just looked at it earlier too.
Yeah, it's I be trying to keep this stuff in ingrained in my memory, and I still be forgetting. Okay, so we got the Marlins and the Cubs. So
Cubs are rebuilding, so this is actually a very winnable series that we got coming up. The Marlins, I've been following them a little bit because whoever we get ready to play, plus they in divisions, I always watch them or whatever. Try to
right,
catch the highlights at least. And uh, yeah, the Marlins,
I do the same, man. Like
yeah,
I may not watch a whole lot of baseball, but I do try to keep up with the moves that
oh yeah.
our divisional rivals make.
In my scouting report, I tell you on the Marlins, they bats are cold just like ours. The pitching is not good. Their closer is actually horrendous. I think he has like a 18 ERA
Goodness, I
on
could
the
do that.
year, and they really don't have anybody else to put in, in place of him. So this is a very winnable series. To me, we should go down there 3-0. Then you got the Cubs who are rebuilding. Last year they sold off everybody pretty much. Hendricks is their ace, and he's struggling out the gate. I think he's
Right.
at 7 ERA. So it's these are very winnable series. If you can't sweep both of them, hey, we need to go at least 5-1.
So I'm about to put you on the spot. I'm about to I'm about to put you on the spot.
Gotcha.
We like you said, we got the Marlins, we got the Cubs at home. So what is your prediction?
Both of those are 3-game series, right?
Yeah, both
Okay.
of them are 3-game series. Let me
I'm
let me
gonna
put you in
say,
the camera by yourself so they
yeah,
can
yeah.
see
Put me
just you
by
and me.
myself so everybody can take this to a casino, to the bank, sportsbook, wherever you do. They will go both series 2-1, so they end up 4-2,
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here
4-2.
first. 4-2 on the next two series with the Marlins and the Cubs. So right now you're on one. We gonna keep
Yeah, keep account of it.
we gonna keep a running tally
0
of
one, starting out bad.
JP's predictions. Matter of fact, I need to work up like a whole new segment with
There
some
you
type of
go.
swarming music.
There
Maybe
you go.
get your turban or something.
Guaranteed to
Get
take to the
crystal
bank, baby.
ball.
Look,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say this. I know we're getting ready to wrap up here shortly, but I'm gonna say this, man. Something you alluded to. We talked about Jock Peterson. I know he's not a Brave anymore, but uh, do you kind of get that feeling? I know it's early in the season, but do you kind of get that feel that we're not embracing that we're the hunted now? We got the targets on our back. It's almost like they too relaxed.
yeah.
Kind of. I just don't see, like right when they was winning all those games to get to the playoffs, and then the Brewers, when the Brewers they won the first game of that series, and that was a short series, the 2 out of 3 or whatever. So, you kind of thinking like, oh crap, but I don't know, man. It's just like everybody was just rallying. They was doing the chop when they got on base and all, and it just don't seem like that. And Olsen doesn't seem like a real rah rah type guy to me either. So
He's never been though.
no, he's not. You know what Cunha is.
Right.
He'll hit a single and be jumping up on base.
I think that's what's missing, right?
Something.
because you had Freddie. He was the face. Well, Acuna the face,
Yeah.
but Freddie was the face as well. Then you had Jock, who was that that guy. Um, so I think the chemistry is a little off. I think the leadership is not where it was, but I do think once Acuna gets there and brings that attitude, brings
Yeah.
that swagger that's missing, I think guys will rally around that, and hopefully,
Hmm.
everything will pick up.
Yeah.
Um, so that's my hope for it. And maybe I hope both of us right. So we gonna see. But
Yeah.
I got you down for 4-2,
4-2, guaranteed.
guaranteed. And let me just throw this back out there again. I'm buying Eddie Rosario getting benched. I just want to make sure everybody caught that, and I'm very
Look,
clear.
look, I don't even think you had to put that up there. I think everybody knew you was going.
Right. So we talked about jogging. Remember the last episode we talked about the ring and all the
Yeah.
diamonds and the pearl. And
Hmm.
we remember I said, man, Prince would
Yeah.
love that ring. Well, to tie it all in together, today, 6 years ago, was when Prince passed away. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So again, still condolences to
Yeah.
his fans and his family. You see, how I feel about Prince. He's
Wow.
like
6 years
goat.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
it,
was. Yeah.
it don't even seem like it's been 6 years, but he's the goat to me, man.
Oh
I
yeah.
argue anybody over him over everybody. MJ, James Brown,
Yeah.
Beyonce. You put him in front of me, Prince will always be that
Super
guy.
talented, man. Super talented.
Yeah, could play any instrument.
Hmm.
I wish he was here to play right field so we could get Eddie out there, but I just can't let it go, man. And hopefully, I crack jokes on him, but in all seriousness, though, I really hope he pull it together, man, because
Yeah.
we
That's
need him
he's
to.
a major disappointment this year. Major.
Right.
Because out of the three outfielders, like we talked about earlier, that you knew that the Braves were only going to bring one of them back,
Yep.
and the way I categorize, I wanted to keep Soler, but he was that power guy. If he wasn't hitting the power bombs, he wasn't doing too much. So I was okay. He can go. But
Right.
then I felt Eddie was the safest because he gave you defense in the field. He can lead off. He had a little power. So, and of course, Jock was my favorite because he seemed like the clutchest, and not only the clutchest, he just seemed he was that character. I remember when they who was that they beat? Was it the Dodgers? Yeah, I think it was the Dodgers when they beat them. And this guy, they were looking to interview him. He out there in the water out there, behind behind center field.
Right.
Looked like he was drinking a beer or something. So I'm like, this guy's nuts. But that's what we needed because it was a story, man. When he first got traded, he was with the Cubs for like half of that year, and they traded him to Atlanta. And it was a story where he came in the clubhouse, and we was on that losing streak, and especially after Acuna got hurt, so everybody thought our chances was done. So it was a story came out how he was in the locker room and everybody was just somber, with nobody saying anything, and he just cussed them out, and he said it just went from there.
Yeah.
Jock is crazy.
So, before we get
Yeah.
out of here, I had an idea, and
Okay.
I had every intention of talking to you before we started, but I want to start incorporating the prospects, guys in the minors. Maybe do a spot every time we do episode, do a spotlight on one of the minor players.
Yeah, that sounds
Because we
good.
like to talk all things Braves, and with us being Mississippians, man,
Oh
we
yeah.
got the double A Braves, so
Yep.
like it's ingrained in us, man. So I
Yeah,
want
that'll work.
to start doing that. So just bringing that up for some of you folks who follow everything
Right.
Braves, both the majors and the minors. We gonna start putting that out there, man. So I'm
That'll work.
definitely looking forward to that. Speaking of which, uh the center fielder we got prize prospect Michael Harris.
Mm-hmm.
He was ranked as the Braves' top prospect. He's in Double A now. He
Yeah.
opened up the season with a 7 game hitting streak.
Yeah, and he was kept out of all trades because I know he was mentioned to be in that Olsen trade, but they were like,
Yep,
uh-uh.
yep. So he doing his thing, man. He's
Right.
got a nice little his slash line looking pretty good. Uh, through the 7 games, 379, 419 OPS on base percentage, 586.
Yeah.
And he also notched his first outfield assist of 2022
Hmm.
in the April 15th game against Biloxi, cutting down a run attempting to stretch a single into a double. So
Can we send Rosario down there for him?
probably need to. You know what though? Hey, for real, if he keep, if he keeps this up, we might see it this year. We
Hey,
could see it, but we like I said, we're gonna keep our eyes on
right.
these prospects and bring them up and share everything that we see. So
Oh, and let me say
look,
this too, man,
looking
before
forward
we
to that.
close up shop, man. We need to everybody that's watching wherever you get your podcast at. We on there. We're on YouTube. We're on everything. Leave us a comment, man. If you like the show, you want to add something, you want to hear us talk about something, leave a comment. Let us know because we see the viewership is going up every week we post. So. And we're gonna be
Yeah,
doing this all year, bringing good Braves talk. I know the Sports Talk 101, man. They follow us. There's a lot of them in there listening. So, yeah, just leave a comment and let us know.
yeah, and if you can't watch, you can find us on Spotify,
Hmm.
on Anchor. You can find us on Google Podcasts. I think we need 2 more episodes before Apple will put us on.
Right.
But yeah, like we trying to be everywhere. So to those of you who supporting us now, we thank you, and we look forward
Yes.
to those who will support us, and hope you enjoy what you're hearing. So, you
Right.
got anything else you want to add, JP?
That's it, man. Ready for this prediction to come true. 4-2.
I'm a roll with that.
You gotta give me a
I'm a
theme music or something next week,
Yeah,
man.
we're gonna find you some theme music. You know, uh, I just hope you don't end up with a batting average of Eddie Rosario with your
No, I'm
predictions.
betting 0 for 1 right now. So yeah,
Because if you do, bro, we gonna be in trouble this year.
you're right. Let's hope it's 1-1 by next time they see us. So yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed. So, on behalf of my boy, the prediction machine, Jermaine JP
Yes,
Powell,
sir.
and myself, TK, this has been episode number 3 of the Chop Shop Podcast, where we talk everything Braves.
Yep.
So, with that being said,
See y'all next
let's
week.
go Braves.
Yes, sir.